Hello, welcome to our Monday Business News Report. We'll now start with our feature on the show today, looking at Nigeria's manufacturing sector and its level of preparedness for the Africa Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. Now, Nigeria's share in world trade is about 0.33%, and the country's share in Africa's trade is barely 19% below its share of Africa's gross domestic product. And that's official. Well, that's the stance and also part of the highlight of the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala's visit to Nigeria just last week, sharing statistics about Nigeria's status in manufacturing value added in the country, which also pegs our rate currently at about 103 out of 106 countries in terms of logistics. On a side note, aware of the dangers which the ongoing global transition into renewable energy sources poses to Nigeria, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala emphasizes the urgent need for the country to focus on added value to agricultural products as well as boost export potentials and reposition the economy to take advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. Well, joining me now via Skype to discuss this development and much more, I have public finance and policy analyst Olusegun Elemo. Good to have you on the breakfast show this morning, Olusegun.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Now, Nigeria has not necessarily put its best foot forward in terms of trade liberalization with worsening terms of trade and balance of payments. We've also seen our manufacturing sector not necessarily also well positioned. What do you make of these situations, this challenging picture that the World Trade Organization, DG, has already put out there and is saying that, well, we have to take urgent steps?
Yeah. Thank you for that question. I think I want to use this opportunity again to really congratulate the DG of the World Trade Organization. I mean, it further puts Nigeria in a prime position in global activities. Once again, we can raise our heads up high as Nigeria and Nigerians and look up to a brighter future. And we just need to do some better things locally. And going back to your question now, I think by and large, there's been quite some challenges with manufacturing. And I think the DG mentioned it when she said, when she visited the central bank governor, and she said that the instability in the forex market and how we're treating forex with regard to manufacturing and providing forex to manufacturers. I think we really need to address that. The president recently opened up the borders, which have said in many forums that it's a welcome development. But for us to be able to really tap into the full potentials of what the borders and the African Free Trade Area Agreement offers, we need to position the manufacturing sector in Nigeria to be able to tap into all of these opportunities. Because, for instance, when you look at the export market for Nigeria, we aren't really doing much. We're more import-dependent economy, and for us to really tap into the AFCTA potentials, we then need to empower the manufacturers, provide them with forex, let them import the raw materials that they need, and then enable them to actually add value to the product that they're producing. I think those are the things that we need to do.
And rightly so, as you've mentioned, looking at the issue of multiplicity in terms of rates and then the instability we've seen in our forex regime, the Central Bank of Nigeria continues to improve on its intervention, but it's quite a tough situation as we have it at this point in time. Access to forex is key, access to raw materials is necessary, and then also improving our local base capacity is also quite a critical situation. But we cannot also remove the part of infrastructure as well, especially at the local base, because at the end of the day, we have poor electricity, poor road infrastructure, and the list continues. Now, as it is now, we also have to work on managing resources, not letting players within certain sectors work as silos, but instead we have to concentrate hubs. So that's one of the way to go, especially as we're still dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic and the instability on the global front, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think, and that's my concern. That's my concern with the $1.5 billion we're going to spend on Port Harcourt refinery. when you look at the performance of the refinery in 2018 and 2019, looking at the audited accounts of NNPC, you would really, be skeptical about the federal government's position to spend $1.5 billion on that refinery. There are a lot of things, calling for attention right now. You talk about power, you talk about infrastructure, you talk about, even stabilizing the forex market. So if we just need to, make targeted spending, and I want to believe, give the federal government the benefit of the doubt. If they say that the refinery is going to work in 18 months and put $1.5 billion there, we want to wait to see what becomes of that. But the truth is that the country, there are different sectors of the economy right now. Look at what COVID has done, putting the health sector in a very fragile position. And then there are lots of things happening. Look at insecurity now. The education sector is largely affected. And we just need to ramp up infrastructure in all of this sector. It calls for us to spend more efficiently and effectively right now.
Let's also talk about research and then standardization as well. These are also critical pillars that Nigeria is largely lacking behind. Because even talk about vaccine production, the World Trade Organization, DG, has also said, well, it's also time to look inwards, improve our local capacity. So to a very large extent, across key sectors of the economy, talk about services, talk about health, talk about education, agriculture, and much more. Research standardization is key in terms of our products and pricing.
Of course, certainly we need to put lots of attention and money in research. And when you look at, for instance, one of the major challenges we've had with manufacturing is the value addition. And how much value are we adding to the product or to whatever we're churning out? And that's why we've had so much constraint with exporting lots of our product. And it's good to see now that there are a lot of Nigerian products now coming out, entering, being exported. And when you get into the supermarket, you see lots of Nigerian products now on the shelves. I think
well, we just lost Olusegun Elemo. We were speaking about positioning Nigeria strategically and also looking towards investment within the area of the manufacturing sector to ensure that we have Nigeria rightly placed in terms of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. Well, on that note, we'll just wrap up the business segment on the show today. Many thanks for watching so far.